Even Newman. It's quite a sight and it's quite a noise. You track that back to the contest at centre-half forward. It was Bergman.
Nic Newman. Joe, this was arguably the breakout, most improved potentially. It's not like he was poor in previous years. He was more of a just get your job done. I don't know. Role player might be a little bit offensive to say, but he just went up a level. There was a different era that we saw from him. It was the same Nic Newman, but he just got a lot more of the ball. He did a lot more for us in crunch moments and became so much more reliable for us. How do you reflect on him?
Breakout year at 30 years of age. Like, that's almost unheard of, really.
Yeah.
I can't remember the last player to have like their absolute best career season to date by as much as he did at the age of 30. Finished second in the BNF, which is huge in a prelim year. So, you know, that's not much more to say about Newey. Like, that's everything that you want from every player on our list. Is like, regardless of their age, regardless of their experience, always look to improve, always look to add layers to your game. And to be fair to Newey, since he's come in, I think almost every year he's added another layer to his game. And he just exploded last year. Absolutely exploded. And he played a role that I didn't think he was capable of playing, to be honest. Or not that I didn't think he was capable of playing, but I just never envisaged him playing that role as that defensive midfielder. Like, he was always that hard nut in the back line. Super reliable one-on-one with a small forward and could hold his own. And, you know, but mate, he was racking up disposals at one point in the season, like in the mid to high 30s. Mm-hmm. So he's now, again, I know we've said it a few times, but he's become so important to this 22 every single week now. One of the first picked.
He's a great example of why it's so important to play as many games as possible in a season. I talk about the compound effect a lot with life. And I think he embodies exactly what that means. And the reason why I say that is he does the basics so well. We spoke about Chera earlier, and I think he's going to be one that also benefits from this theory if he hasn't already. But Newman was viewed as a guy that's like locked down on the smalls, and that was kind of it. Played 19 games in 22. He played 24 games in 2023. Had this, equality says it here, more animal. He got this confidence and this edge about him that I hadn't seen before as much as what we did in 2023. His kicking is so compact, and he seems to just pride himself on hitting targets. It's I don't know. And then so when I look at 2024 as we move into this era, and, you know, we sort of move Sam Docherty out of the defense, so to speak, more than what we had seen before. And I'm curious to see how that plays out in 24 when you bring in Zach Williams into that mix. How do you see the role evolving, if at all?
I think same role. We just spoke about it with Doc. You know, I think they can interchange in that role, sitting at the back of a stoppage, first to receive the handball, work their way through traffic, get us forward. Like, that you need that sort of a player in the system that we've got in trying to move the ball forward. And I think that they're both capable of doing it. But Newman has shown that he's not just capable, like he's the number one. He's a go-to for me. Yep. At a stoppage in 2024 around the ground, that's when I look at our structure. I want to see Nic Newman sitting at the back of the stoppage, because then I've got confidence that even if the ball spills out, he's going to be there, because we saw it time and again and time and again and time and again. He got us out of traffic. He actually knows how to weave his way through pretty difficult situations, which, again, I just didn't expect from Newey. But now that we've seen it, complete confidence in him to do that. Like, if I'm not seeing Newman at the back of a stoppage and it's not Docherty, then there's warning signs for me, because we're left vulnerable. There's not that defensive presence. There's no one that's goal side that can, you know, read the play out of the stoppage if the ball's going to spill out and whatnot. So, I think that role needs to continue and just continue to evolve and just add another layer where he can.
Yeah. This is a curious. I haven't thought about this. I wonder how much his time coaching with the women contributed to him achieving consistency at a higher level.
Good point.
It's a good point.
Great point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he sat out. Sorry, go ahead.
You see the game differently from the coach's box for sure.
Yeah. I mean, look at the numbers. He averages 23 and a half touches a game last season, 15 kicks, 7.7 handballs. He's elite for marking. He takes 8 marks a game, give or take. He tackles 4 times a game, which is elite. The meters gained was the big one that improved this year from seasons gone. And I feel like if you just look at every season he's played, 23 is so far beyond and ahead of any other season he's had. It's such a standout. I've got it up in front of me here, and I don't really feel like we need more from him. We just need this, where he's been able to, take his game, keep it there, and we're good.
My dad, this is probably a really good comparison, and they're not the same. It's not the same position at all, but in terms of the impact in the system, right? It's probably a good comparison. My dad often talks about 95, and he always mentions Earl Spalding, right? And if Earl Spalding wasn't there, Kernahan couldn't do what he did, right? And I get that up forward, right? So that was how we structured in 95. It was very much footy was what it was in the 90s. You had a big key forward. That's who you needed a foil for him. Earl Spalding was that foil. In our system, without Nic Newman, I don't think the midfield group can do what they do. So without Nic Newman in that role, that midfield group doesn't. There isn't. He's almost like a backup plan if it fails and the ball spills out the back. Is how I see it, and I saw it time and again. So I think that's probably the comparison that I would make if you needed to compare to a team from the past or a player from the past. And again, completely different positions, completely different systems, but same impact is how I see Newman in this system.
He is the quintessential Voss player. That's the Voss style of play. I think he's one of them. I think George Hewitt's one of them. I think Adam Chera's one of them. Got the hard edge. You've got to be hard at the contest to be a Voss type player. Yeah, that's something we've learned pretty quickly. So no issue there. Those of you at home watching, how do you reflect on what we've been able to see from Nic Newman so far? He's about to enter his 6th season at the Carlton Football Club, which is very exciting. The comfort levels are certainly there now. So let us know in the comments below what you think about Nic Newman heading into season 2024.